Well, model and TV host Janice Dickerson is the latest woman to accuse comedian Bill Cosby of rape. She follows two other women who came out. In fact, there are a total of, over the years, there have been a total of 15 women who said that Bill Cosby has raped them. Some have said that he provided them drinks as well as different pills, and they woke up and realized that sex had taken place and they were groggy. Let's bring in our panel right now because there's been lots of attention, obviously on social media, also in mainstream media with interviews with women accusing him of that. And also he did an interview on NPR. He was asked about it as well. So we have Lauren, Cleo, and Kim as well. Here's what you have here. So you have in the last several days, you have Barbara Bowman writes a piece in the Washington Post. CNN interviews her 2 or 3 times. Then there was a woman who was interviewed on CNN on Monday, then again on Tuesday. And it's interesting to look at how different people are dealing with this story, reporting the story. And so the question is this here, from a journalistic standpoint, or media standpoint, is this the question of a court of public opinion issue, a legal issue, because statute of limitations have run out? One of the allegations, she says it took place 45 years ago. Right. Another woman says it took place 30 years ago. And so what do you make of what's happening here, where this thing really got kick-started because a comedian no one had ever heard of made a comment during a stand-up routine in Philadelphia that goes viral, and then it mushrooms from there really over the last 3 weeks?
Well, these stories are always to some extent about the court of public opinion. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, whether it's journalistic or social or a public opinion or not, he's not saying anything. I mean, for him to sit there on NPR and not deny these things after you got 4 or 5 people coming out, is pretty, to me, indicting. I mean, if you haven't done anything, you're innocent. Innocent people typically say, hey, I didn't do it. He's not doing that. So that, for me, is kind of a deal breaker. You typically don't get 5 or 6 people who lie in exactly the same way about something this serious. I don't care how long ago it was or anything. You know, people make have this idea that, oh, it happened 20, 30 years ago, so it doesn't matter. I think it does matter.
I was reading this story in the on the Wrap.com, and one of the things that the story was with various crisis PR folks, and it was the consensus was, don't talk. The consensus was that he could talk, and then it's going to be talk tomorrow, then the next day, then the next day. Lawyers say the same thing. Is that a smart strategy not to talk, not to give interviews about this particular issue?
Now when it comes to having been accused of rape, that's not going to go away. I mean, Michael Jackson learned that as well when he was alive. I mean, when you are accused of something as heinous as rape, which is a horrific crime, even though he hasn't dealt with it because of statute of limitations, but it's still very, very stigmatizing. He has to say something, and like she said, that he has not said anything at all looks more suspicious than him following an attorney's advice. On
Sunday, his attorney released a statement denying the allegations, and so he had spoken through his attorney.
Right, but I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think that it's a smart short-term solution to do the no comment thing. I think it is irreparably harmful to Bill Cosby and his reputation as he goes forward. He's 77 years old. He has had a very long and revered career in entertainment and been very prominent in the black community. However, the fact that there's no statute of limitation on rape is actually part of the problem. If these allegations were still able to be made in a court of law, I think the public would probably get the answers that they're looking for.
Which would still be difficult, because if someone says something took place 30, 45 years ago, now you're dealing with an evidence issue. Now you're dealing, because you still are in a situation where, whether it's court of public opinion or even law, one person's word against another person's word, versus if you talk about a murder case where you have evidence, you have tire tracks.
Well, we don't know what evidence is available and what evidence is not available. And I know that there's no statute of limitation on trauma that rape victims endure. And I applaud these women for telling their stories very publicly, because number one, that takes a lot of courage to do that, especially given the ginormous person that Bill Cosby is in the public sphere.
But also, if you're Bill Cosby, you don't care about any of that. You don't care about the statute of limitations if you're innocent. You don't care about what your attorneys are saying if you're innocent, or your PR people. If you're innocent, you come out and say, I'm innocent. Well, I don't care about any of that.
That's a hypothesis. We don't know what people do now that we're in their shoes. But what's difficult, though, is
he's getting press either way, whether he comes out and says he's innocent or not. right? He's going to be in the press.
Well,
The
that's
story's
true.
in the press either way.
That's true.
So my
But
thing
again,
is,
though,
if you're
but-
innocent, you come out and
But
say
here's what's
that.
interesting, though. When you look at, in fact, the rap story said the Hollywood crisis experts to Bill Cosby shut the F up. I mean, they were very
See,
clear.
they always say that. When don't they say that?
Right.
When
Exactly.
don't they say shut up?
But here's a question for you, though. Is it also different when you have high-profile folks? Because typically, we can go from whether it's Bill Cosby, whether it's an athlete, whether
Right.
it's a musician,
Right.
whether it's R. Kelly, whether
Right.
it's somebody else. I mean, you look at Stephen Collins.
Right.
I mean, here.
Well, see, if he was in the
hold on,
heyday-
hold on, 1 second.
Right.
Stephen Collins. Here, his wife records him
Right.
admitting to
Right.
child molestation
Right.
in a deposition. Stephen Collins didn't come out and say a word.
Yeah, the thing is, Bill Cosby is not in the heyday of his career, even though a lot of these incidents seem to have allegedly happened in the heyday of his career. But he's in his 70s. All the more
he's 77.
reason he should be running to the TV to say he's innocent if he's innocent. So you're talking about people who are in the heyday of their career. It's a slightly different strategy.
You're shaking your head.
But we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And let's be clear, Mr. Cosby has not been criminally charged or found guilty of any of these allegations.
Of course he
That
hasn't.
is the bottom
Of course he hasn't.
line.
But why
And
hasn't he
that's the
come
thing
out
that
and
the
said, I haven't
media-
done anything?
Because that's his prerogative. I mean,
Why? No,
he's
because-
under advice of his attorneys. I don't know. I mean, please, there are people
It's
who are
his
guilty of
prerogative,
crimes who
but-
get on television with straight faces and say that they're innocent. So him just saying I'm innocent does not necessarily make it so. But when we talk about how this is being perceived and how it's going to sully his reputation and his legacy going forward, it would behoove him to come out and say something. But I
a little
understand
bit.
why he's
Wasn't
not
Bill
saying
Cosby
anything.
caught with a woman and had a child out of wedlock some time ago?
Yes. Well, no, I won't say caught with a woman.
well-
a woman.
Caught- he's
my
married.
point is, a woman did come forward, said that she was his daughter.
Right.
He has financially supported her. I don't believe that he actually acknowledged. I don't even know if there was a DNA test. I mean, I'll look it up in a second. Hold on one second.